The mayor's here. The mayor of the city of Cape Town. The pageantry. Here come the horses.
This is even more grand than the last one.
There he is with his powder blue mayor shirt.
Yes, yes. Is blue like the color that you... Is that... I know when you go to court, because you always do wear blue, and I know your party's blue, but they say if you are going to court and you are going to face a judge, always wear blue. Blue
really?
is the color of innocence.
Oh.
Don't wear... They say don't ever wear red if you are an accused in court.
Well, I've never seen anyone wearing a red shirt. Well, I suppose. No, actually, I have, come to think of it. One or two people in our democracy. But no, I just kind of get whatever's on the shelf at Woolies. Well, I think this is... I can't remember where I got the shirt, actually. But most of my shirts are blue or crisp white.
Or crisp white,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Speaking of court, is anyone taking you to court recently?
Oh, dozens of people. I mean, really dozens.
He's the most sued man.
Yes.
The most sued man.
But I've put together a strong record of wins. My win-loss ratio is stronger than the Stormers. So do so at your peril.
How was the Easter weekend?
No, it was lovely. I gave up sugar for Lent, which was a big mistake, but I stuck with it all the way through.
Tough time to give up sugar.
And so I made up for it, obviously, on Easter weekend. So I had way too many Easter eggs this weekend. And I hope that you all did as well. And I don't know about you, but the white chicken egg Easter eggs,
The hard ones. Yes.
are by far the best Easter egg.
Agreed.
I mean, those are just temptation.
You can't just have one.
You gotta pop them.
I know.
So I had a few of those chicken eggs.
I was watching a video of a mother who had to eat hers in the middle of the night while the kids were sleeping. Otherwise, they just gobbled them up. It was her only time she could have these Easter
And
eggs.
the first bite is the most crucial. Is the whole thing going to break in your hand, or you just going to nip the top off?
But
Yeah.
but as with so many things, there's two methods here. That you can lick it until it gets soft.
I know that's gross.
That's what
Come
my
on.
daughter does. I
the
agree
long
with
game.
you. And then you got this like white lipstick.
Yeah.
Or you can just go for it. And that's my method is get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think you got to go for it. First question off the bat here, Mr. Mayor. Are you single? This is from Melanie.
Oh no, Melanie, I'm definitely not. You can't get me blushing so early in the morning. No, I'm very wonderfully and happily married to Carla.
So the mayor asked me, where did I go for the weekend? And I said, no, I went to Old McDaddy, all right? And he said, oh, in Elgin. And I said, no, hold on, mayor. Hold on. You've got to get the pronunciation correct. This has
Come
been
on.
long debated. Is it Elgin or Elgin? And I'll tell the story again.
I say Elgin.
No, well, you're wrong.
Okay.
Because I was I was doing a
It's quite forceful about
You
that.
were wrong.
It's like, I didn't realize you feel so strongly about the name of
We've
the
been
town.
on a journey with that one.
Well,
All
look, I did a comedy show in Elgin, and one of the first questions I said to the audience, I said, is it Elgin or is it Elgin? And this guy put his hand up, and he said, Darren. I said, yes, sir. He said, you don't say vagina.
Wow.
And we have
It was
never
settled.
forgotten.
It was settled.
That kind of does settle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Algina.
All right. So look, we as we do, you come in every 3 months, and we talk about the city, and we talk about the questions that people have for the city. The one that always comes up, and you can send yours through on 082 945 0940, is the crime. So there's been a few differently worded questions, but the general sentiment is, what is the plan for crime?
Okay, well, a couple of things. Firstly, the crime statistics, the official ones from the police ministry, actually show that this is the only place in South Africa where violent crime is actually ticking downwards. Now, it's still far too high and unacceptably high, but we are showing that there is actually a model that works, and that model is what we have done to focus our crime resources. We don't have infinite resources; we have limited resources, and you focus those in the areas that are most crime-ridden or crime intensive. And in fact, if you look at the crime statistics, just 10 police precincts in Cape Town account for 50% of violent crime in the city. All of the other, we have 90-odd police precincts. The other 80-odd account for the other 50%. So we have focused our efforts in those 10 and one or two others as well. And it's all the ones at the top of the list that you don't want to be at the top of. It's Nyanga, Philippi, Crossroads, Khayelitsha, Hanover Park, Lavender Hill, Bishop Lavis, Kraaifontein, Atlantis, and a couple others, Delft. And we have focused our limited policing resources, which we call LEAP, into those 10 or 12 areas.
This is the city police.
Exactly. This is city police. Thank you. That's an important point. This is not SAPS, because we don't run SAPS. SAPS is run entirely by national government. But we have a limited number of officers here in the city, and we have this joint project with the Western Cape government to fund extra officers called LEAP, and we put those into those 10 or 12 areas, and they do good old-fashioned visible policing. They don't have the power to investigate crimes. They are not detectives, but they do street visible policing. They patrol, they do stop and search, they do drug busts and so on. And they most importantly, they find and confiscate illegal weapons, 474 of them last year, off the streets, just in those areas.
And do they hand them to SAPS?
They hand them over to SAPS, part of the problem, because we see them recycled sometimes. So that's the first thing, and that is actually the official figures show that is working. It's the only city in the country where violent crime is ticking down, because you're using resources to focus. The next thing is you can't just hire thousands and thousands of extra police officers. It's not financially sustainable. So we're investing in technology to boost the kind of effectiveness that our limited number of city officers and LEAP officers have. And that is the only law enforcement agency in the country to be rolling out mandatory body cameras and dashboard cameras for all of our officers, for all of our vehicles. That's already, the first 800 are out there. Eye in the sky technology, drone technology, gunshots, echolocation, shot spotter technology, all either already rolled out or rolling out to more areas soon. And hopefully the idea is that when you've got officers on the ground, plus layered with various forms of technology to give that officer real life, live intelligence, that they are even more effective. And then finally, on this question, I still think the most important medium to long term difference that we can make is if we actually start to hand over more and more functions of the national police to local and provincial governments that can get it done. We call this the devolution of policing powers. For example, the power to investigate a crime. Mm-hmm. We think that that's really important for our Metro police officers to be able to do.
So do you have no jurisdiction in investigating a crime?
Not, no. So they can, obviously if you get stopped in a traffic stop, they can search your vehicle. Mm. If they are pursuing a suspect, they can search a suspect or search a house or whatever the case is. But other than that, they can't really do investigations. That would be the first major difference maker, because so many of the cases that we bring, for example, the 470-odd illegal guns, those cases fall apart in court because they are poorly investigated. Mm. And that's terrible, because you have cases where these guys are straight back onto the streets, and we arrest them the next week again.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing for the future that we have to keep fighting for the devolution of policing powers.
Okay. I think that's, I don't know if that's a battle you're going to win with getting control locally.
Well, I think, we've got to keep knocking at that door. And I find that when, on a ground level, we work really well with the SAPs, and they're actually more than happy to share some of those additional powers with us. It's really at a leadership level that there's a lot of resistance. But we'll just keep knocking at that door, and I do trust that eventually it will open to us.
We've got the Mayor, Geordin Hill-Lewis, in with us this morning, talking
Good morning.
all things Cape Town for our quarterly here. So, school holidays, this is why you avail yourself at this time. People don't know right from day one. How long have you been mayor now?
Just over 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And you run for 5.
That's right.
Okay.
So next month, actually, we'll be halfway.
Right. Time flies, eh?
It really does, eh? When you're having fun, and it is fun.
And what were you doing before?
I was a member of parliament for the DA, and my portfolio was finance. I was on the finance portfolio committee for a few years and was the shadow minister for a time. So finance and economics has really been my gig for the longest time.
That's why you look good in a powder blue shirt. You're a finance bro.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's why I naturally kind of gravitate towards them on the shelf.
Exactly. Our mayor's a
something about my
finance
DNA.
bro, guys.
so you could have been one of those guys going off to New York investment banking.
Yeah, I suppose I would have ended up in a bank somewhere, but it sounds very dull and boring. It's not my kind of scene.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's one for you.
Mr. Mayor, can you please identify or at least explain what the problem is when it comes to submission of housing plans, getting people's plans passed through the city? Myself and a couple of neighbors have been trying to close up our properties, renovate since COVID. And between the head of spatial planning and all the other drama and paperwork that we've got, we just don't seem to be getting any sort of closure, any sort of feedback. Can you please tell us what else residents should be doing?
Shame, she sounds tired, Mayor. It's really been a long journey.
It has.
She
It sounds
just
like a long
wants-
journey. What was the name?
She wants that aftaki done.
There's a couple of things going on. Firstly, we've got to simplify our system, so the systems do need to be made a lot simpler, and we are busy doing that. But probably most importantly at the moment, our teams, our planning teams, are just under massive pressure. We're getting about 2,500 planning applications a month at the moment.
Sure.
And that is because there's just a huge amount of building going on in Cape Town right now. I saw a report from the government last week showing that there's been a 43% jump in construction jobs in Cape Town. 226,000 people work in construction in the city right now. There's just a lot going on.
Which is a sign of a thriving
booming
economy.
Exactly. It's a sign of a good economy, but at the moment the poor guys doing plans in our various planning offices around the city are really under massive pressure. But what you can do is, if you can just WhatsApp the same WhatsApp number you just sent that to with your case number, you know from your architect, or if you've done it yourself, you will have a case number, and I will follow up and check what the delay is for you.
Okay. Because I just submitted something now as well.
You're adding to the numbers there.
No, I won't abuse that privilege. I won't. No, I
If you just WhatsApp to the producer.
to the KFM WhatsApp telephone. No, but you always ask the question, like I asked the architect, bruh, surely you got a connection there in council.
Who can push
I've been
this
through 3 architects, not one has a connection in council.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, actually. Thank you for saying that, because I don't want there to be
A connection at council.
Yeah, you shouldn't even be asking for that, Darren. But we'll
No, just maybe, it's like an uncle or something. I think that's the question that everybody asks, though. you know.
No. Well, I hope that I believe and trust that is an absolutely clean team and a team of great professionals. And
Well, I can tell
they're
you
under
from
pressure.
personal experience, it is. It absolutely is.
Good. Of course, also sometimes the planning department says no, and then people don't like that. You know, if you want to do something which you can't do, then people don't like that very much, and then they also submit complaints about that. But I don't know what the circumstances are here, so let's check.
Because I was told by the architect, he said roughly 3 months. But now you see, I need to get a departure from a neighbor. So he said that's going to be 6 months. So that seems to be the going rate, the standard time.
But that's actually perfect for you because then you're not building in winter, so you must see the upside of that. You know?
Okay, yeah. We will spin this, however. Electricity. And electricity has just gone up. I think it went up today.
Yeah.
Or yesterday,
That's if you're an ESCOM customer.
if you're an ESCOM customer. So that went up. What was it? It was that.
12.7 something.
Yes. So is that not going up for City of Cape Town residents?
Ours is only in July.
Okay.
Because the city's budget year runs from July to June, and our increase is slightly less than ESCOM. Ours is 11.7. It's mainly dictated by the ESCOM increase, obviously, because we're an ESCOM customer, but we've managed to shave off 1% to help people's pockets a bit.
Okay, perfect. Interest rates, they're going to go up? Do you have any? Do you know anything about? I know that's not your portfolio.
It used to be, but no, not anymore. But I would love them to go down. Cheapest.
Yeah.
Goodness, wouldn't we all love them to go down?
Just some relief. for
I
people.
know.
One question: this man, he's going to take his chance while he's got it, while he has you. Is there a rule that prohibits drinking in public? This is the only thing this man wants to know.
Is there a rule that prohibits drinking in public?
Yes, he clearly is unaware if there is a rule.
Because I've seen
mean-
the odd tourist in the CBD
Walking around
holding
with a beer.
the odd beer or two. Because obviously in their home countries it may be legal, but
Wow,
obviously in Cape
well,
Town,
in
what's the
Europe-
story?
In Europe, I know in England you got to have it in a brown paper bag, but you can dop
Oh,
down the street.
Is that why that happens? I
Yes.
didn't know that.
So you're just not allowed to show it. It's like concealing a gun. You can't. You can drink it down the road, but nobody's allowed to see that it's Carlsberg.
Wow.
You,
Excuse me.
you may need a
So
one.
Darren's feeling a bit emotional about that. It's okay. It's okay. So, look, I know that you cannot drink in a city park or on a beach. You definitely cannot drink while driving, obviously.
While walking in the city.
I'm gonna have to check that. To be honest, I'm really gonna have to check that. I think that you can actually, but I'm gonna have to
Actually,
check that.
great question. I think it's one of those that nobody's ever thought of.
But look, can we just all agree? Don't do that. Don't do
Yeah,
that. I mean,
exactly.
I'm gonna get you an answer on that, but let's just not do that. Before Darren gets emotional again.
Yes.
No, we do need clarity on that, Mayor, just for residents and for tourists alike. Because I feel like we live very different rules.
I mean, I always see the European tourists coming here,
Yeah.
and thinking that a pedestrian crossing is actually that in South Africa. It's not. Like in the UK, you step up to a pedestrian crossing, the cars just stop. Boop.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's the suggestion. It's-
exactly right.
yeah.
Pedestrians must wait their turn.
But it should be
It should be.
like the other way.
Yeah.
And we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. And I do actually tell our traffic officials to start busting some people for not using pedestrian crossings properly, because we got to start actually establishing that basic law and order. That filters through to other things in society. I'm a big believer in that. Thank you. But I'm going to get you an answer on whether you can walk and drink. It seems like you guys are really invested in this answer. You clearly, this is important to you. I bet there actually wasn't even a WhatsApp, was there? Let me come and look. Let me come and look.
I will show you. I will show you.
Yeah.
trust me.
All right. We'll take your word for it.
I will screenshot it.
But I'll
and
get you an
SMS
answer. But you cannot drink on a beach or in a park. Please
Yes,
don't
yes,
do that.
yes.
I just want to know, are there any plans for building new high schools, more
Ooh.
specifically to English high schools in the Helderberg area? There is a massive lack of high schools.
Okay, so the city of Cape Town does not do education. That education is run by the Western Cape provincial government. And just during the break, we were talking about when Premier Windy's going to come in next. So that's a question you must put to him. But I happen to know, because we are helping them with a project called the School Rapid Build. They are trying to increase the number of schools they build to about 20 or 30 a year, from the current number of maybe 7 or 8.
Sure, that's a lot.
It's a huge increase because, again, going back to our earlier point about the planning and building, because of the number of people coming to Cape Town, there's just not enough schools in the city. So they are building a lot of schools, and we are helping them with that, precisely with the same issue with getting those plans approved quickly. So we've actually taken one of our most senior planners and stationed him permanently in the Western Cape Education Department office, just doing school rapid build planning approvals. And the idea there is to get as many new schools built in the city as possible. So at the moment, it's quite extraordinary what that team is able to achieve. They are building basic school structures, a few classes and a hall, in like 90 days.
Wow.
120 days, something like that. So it's really wonderful, the work they're doing. Most of those, I must tell you, ma'am, the lady that asked the question, most of those are in places like Mfuleni, in Delft, in Kraaifontein, because that northern part of the city is where the city is growing the fastest. There is major pressure on the school system there. I know that they've just done 2 new schools in Lwandle, which is in the Helderberg, again, where the population growth is the fastest. Beautiful, beautiful new schools in Lwandle. I know that there's 2 more coming in a place called Blue Ridge, which is basically also in Mfuleni, and those are under construction. There's some coming in Belhar. So there's the pressure points are where they have to address first. So I can't say where exactly Somerset West is on that list. You'll have to get that detail from the Premier.
Follow-up question, yeah? Any progress about the people living at the castle?
Okay, so just to remind everyone, the castle belongs to the Department of Defense. It is an army base still, and the land around it belongs to them. And so just like you cannot evict someone from your neighbor's house, we cannot evict anyone from land that does not belong to us. So we have been putting a lot of pressure on the Department of Defense and the Department of Public Works, the National Department of Public Works, who has responsibility for caring for national government buildings and properties, to please look after that property and please take action to clean it up and to get the people living there removed from there. So far, I'm afraid it has been very, very slow progress. Just in the last few months, they have appointed an attorney. Took them about 18 months to appoint an attorney to act for them. And then we offered to help with a survey, because our social workers do surveys of the homeless population all the time. We go and interview them. We find out what their personal circumstances are, what help they need, and so on. So we have done that now. We've offered to do that and have done it. And so now they've got to get their papers drawn up and get onto the court roll, and it's a long process from there, I'm afraid. So my focus is on the rest of the CBD and other homeless encampment sites around the city, which are on our land, and making sure that we've got alternative accommodation for all of those people, which is dignified, which gives them the care that they need to sustainably get off the street and start to kind of reintegrate and rebuild. And that's going well. Actually, I expect a significant court ruling this week. Hopefully we'll get it this week, which is for the rest of the greater kind of CBD area. And hopefully we can put together I think we already are. In fact, we've got a number of successful outcomes now, where we've actually moved people off of the streets into the alternative accommodation that we are providing at the safe spaces. We've cleaned up those encampment sites, and we're showing that we can get people off the street. Hopefully, we can do that soon for the broader CBD and elsewhere as well.
And Mayor, speaking of rebuilding, terrible Easter weekend for hundreds of Cape Townians. The
Yes.
fires, Kwalanga, Dunoon, hundreds of people left
Swezwe.
destitute. I mean, the role for the city in a situation where so many people are left without homes. What can you do, and what's the plan for those people?
So our disaster management teams would have been there almost immediately and providing what assistance we can provide to them. I know that they've been provided with sleeping materials and mattresses and blankets. They've been provided with food. I know that our friends from Gift of the Givers also were there almost immediately to donate a whole lot of other things as well. And now we have to make application for something called an emergency housing grant. The problem is that it takes far too long to get access to that money to actually make a difference immediately for those people.
Yeah,
So
the need is now.
the need is right now.
Yeah, like right now.
So what you find in most of these cases is that people actually rebuild themselves quite quickly. If you go there today, I might try and go down to Mfoleni later today to see some of that. You will find that in fact most of the structures are already rebuilt. But what we can do in future, we've asked if we can apply proactively for a emergency housing grant. The way that it's supposed to work is that you apply when there's emergency.
Yeah.
But as you say, that takes too long. We know that unfortunately in South Africa, these shack fires happen with far too much regularity. And so we can actually apply proactively and say, can we keep some of these funds in reserve so that we can deploy them immediately when these things happen? And I think it sounds like we're going to get that right.
Mr. Mayor, your people are saying you've got a meeting at 8 o'clock.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's always fun to
Who
join
are you
here.
meeting with at 8 o'clock? That's more important than us.
Well, very, very few people are it's got to be someone really, really important.
I saw when I was coming back on the freeway yesterday, your cavalcade. You don't have you know what, a 2-car.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was like 15 cars, blue lights everywhere, consuming the whole freeway.
Well, that should only be the president, because we banned blue lights here. So blue lights are supposed to be used only by the president of South Africa. That's the only person who we make an exception for. I don't even really like to make that exception, but okay, we'll discuss that another day. But nevertheless, so it must have been him. Was it on the N1? Because he sometimes occasionally lands at Eysterplaat. He usually lands at Cape Town International. But if he lands at Eysterplaat, they probably would have been coming in from there.
So if there are blue lights, it's only him. No
It should
ministers
be.
are
I've
allowed.
I've seen one or two, but then I report them actually.
Is it?
Yeah, no, they're not allowed in Cape Town. They are not allowed. We don't allow it at all.
What's your feeling on party buses? Because I feel like they're just as distracting.
Yeah.
A party bus like those. I did
Yeah.
it once.
It ain't all it's made out to be, right? Yeah.
Those buses are looking a little bit janky these days.
They are classics. It's a classic party. Feel like you're in the 80s. Mayor, thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
and your candid answers
It's
as well.
always fun joining you. Thanks very much for
You're
all
part
the
of the
questions.
furniture now. We'll talk again the next school holiday.
Thank you. I look
Yeah.
forward to it already.
KFM mornings with Darren